I don't know what that was, but it sounded scary. Okay. Hi, readers. It's Lori. Welcome back to my channel, Books, Ink, and Paper, and to my November book haul, which I am cutting off early because this is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Also, I have something in my throat and it is causing me to cough, and sometimes my voice is even lower than it is now. At least it sounds low to me. In the mornings, I can hardly speak, and I sound like Lauren Bacall, for those of you who know who that is, maybe even deeper than Lauren Bacall. Nevertheless, I'm going to try to brave my way through a couple of videos just so that I have some content up for you for the next week, and we'll see how this goes. So, yeah, I have a huge haul and I am just, I don't know, unapologetic, I guess. The first book I hauled in the month was just a small, tiny little book that I found. I think it was in the Little Free Library. I don't even remember, but I didn't buy this. And I have looked at this before and just never gotten it. Marianne is in a loveless, unhappy marriage. One evening in Paris, she decides to take action, leaves her life behind, sets out for Brittany, and meets locals and begins the search for what her life should have been all along. I love these kinds of coming to terms with life books, and this seemed like a good one. And I think I've read something else by Nina George before. Then I had this moment where I had to go to Barnes and Noble to get a planner for work. And I did. And I got a few other things too. This book I had at one time, darned if I know what happened to it. I'm assuming I unhauled it, but I didn't realize I had unhauled it. So I bought the sequel, The Starless Sea, right? Is that what it's called? Starless Sea, yes. I bought that recently, or got that recently. So I had to go back and get this because honest to goodness, I don't have it. So The Night Circus is a fantasy. You know, that's not always my jam, but I hope it is. And this is about the Cirque de la Rêves or Reves, I don't know. Behind the scenes of this experience is a fierce competition, a duel between two young magicians, Celia and Marco, and a game which only one can be left standing. So I've always sort of been drawn to this. So I bought that, and you can see it was a buy one, get one 50% off. So then I grabbed The Marlowe Murder Club by Robert Thorogood because this is now being adapted into a PBS series. And you know how I always try to read the books before the series, but this has been on my TBR for a while. I just never owned it. So these ladies take death seriously. To solve an impossible murder, you need an impossible hero. Judith Potts, 77 years old and blissfully happy. May we all be. She lives in her own faded mansion just outside Marlowe. No one tells her what to do or how much too much whiskey is, and she sets crosswords for national newspapers, but then she witnesses a murder and she decides to join some other folks that she knows that can create a murder club together and solve this crime, which I love books like that. If you know me, you know that. So that was a must get for me. And then this, guys, I don't know what I was thinking, except I've always kind of been drawn to this book too. I swear this is not easy to hold at all. But this one is gorgeous. This is the Penguin Classics Deluxe Edition of Les Miserables by Victor Hugo. And I had been watching a couple of booktube friends of mine that were reading this a chapter a day for the year of 2024. So I was chatting with my partner one night and said, we could do that. And she said, yeah, we could. And so will we do that? We'll see. But that is the plan, that we're going to read a chapter a day. But look at how tiny this print is. Allegedly, these chapters are short. According to someone, there's like 5 separate books in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 5 separate books. I know the story of Les Miserables in general. I think I had to do a report on this, on literature in this age at one point, but not specifically about this book. But I did at that time have to research some things. This is the front flap. I was encouraged by the deckled edges too. I swear it would only be able to be a chapter a day because I wouldn't have the strength to hold it up longer than that. It's gorgeous though. I mean, really, it's just gorgeous. And it is one of my favorite stories that I haven't read completely, but it's also one of my favorite Broadway shows, but not one of my favorite movie adaptations. I really probably should use that to strengthen my muscles. More on that in a minute, but then I was looking at my shelves one day, because I rearranged a couple things, not a lot, but I rearranged a little bit here and there. And I was looking at my shelves and I was looking at my Ruth Ware titles and how many Ruth Ware titles I have based on how many Ruth Ware titles there are. And I realized there were a couple missing. So I thought I would look on Pango, even though I've read these, because I want to own them all. And I decided that I would get, if I could find them in a reasonable price, I would get them. And I did actually. One was $3, one was $5. Don't ask me which one, but I got both of these by Ruth Ware. This one, a lot of people don't like, but I actually did like this one. This was about a woman who was on a cruise ship. Her name is Lo, and the assignment of a lifetime is to go on a week-long luxury cruise with a handful of cabins. And she then is at sea and some things happen to Lo and around Lo. And then this one is The Lying Game, which is a book about 4 women, as I remember, who have a past event that they have kept secret. And one of them messages, and I believe she says something like, I need your help, or you need to help me, or something. Maybe the synopsis would say they get a text, I think it's text from their friend Kate that says, I need you. So The Lying Game, The Woman in Cabin 10. And then I think after that, the only one I need to find, which I may go back to Pango in December and check out, is I think the last one I need is In a Dark, Dark Wood, which I'm waiting to purchase because I feel like I owned that too. And I think maybe somebody borrowed it from me. I'm having a plan about what to do with borrowed books. Either stop lending them, or I'm going to make little like library cards, and the cards they used to punch your library return date on. I think I'm going to print out a bunch of those little cardstock library cards, cut them out, and then put those in as a bookmark, but a reminder that this book is due back to me. That's what I think I'm gonna do. All right, then a friend of mine messaged me and said his mom was getting rid of a bunch of books and he had a whole bunch of photos of them, and did I want to have any of them? And I adore him and I adore his mom, and I looked at the books because I didn't want to say no. There were, in fact, a couple of books that I wanted. She's just a sweet, sweet woman who gave me several. And so I chose Laura Lippman's Wild Lake. I have only read 1 or 2 by Laura Lippman, but I have enjoyed them. And this is, they say, the best and most personal, or one of the best and most personal, this one is about Louisa Brandt, who's a state's attorney for Howard County, Maryland, a job in which her widower father had also served. So she is trying to burnish her reputation by trying a homeless man who's accused of beating a woman to death in her own home. But things happen, memories surface, and she's now wondering if something that happened before is, I guess, connected to this, or did it really happen the way she remembers it? I don't know. But Laura Lippman has been writing books since 1997, and she's quite prolific, and she lives at least part of the year in New Orleans. So she sometimes shows up there for book signings and things. So that's that one. I grabbed an ARC, which I didn't realize it was an ARC till later, of Flesh and Blood, which is way down the list of Patricia Cornwell books that I haven't yet read. I need to get back to this series as well. It was published in, or was going to be published in copyright 2014. But I don't want to know a whole lot about what Flesh and Blood is about because I have not read anything right before it. But it does say that it begins on her birthday and she's about to head out on a vacation. I do know a little bit about some of them and something that occurred after I stopped reading that I haven't read but surprised me. But because of that, I just don't want to know a whole lot. But there is a sentence on here that would spoil that for you if you haven't gotten that far. So don't look at the synopsis. And then the last one is a gift from my friend at a book club that I am a part of recently, a virtual book club. And I love it. I love these women. And we agreed to do a swap for Christmas books, and we had a limit and time and all this. So we set it all up, and I dispatched the books to the person I chose happily, and hopefully she will get them soon. And I was chosen or assigned to a woman named Crystal, who yesterday sent me this book, which is so perfect because I just had a conundrum and almost bought this book and didn't because I thought, just don't do it. Just calm down. You've got enough books, right? But what happened was I had on 11/21/24, I had this moment thinking about this book and how I had never finished it. I had started it and never finished it years ago. I have it on Nook, and I worked then at a pretty chaotic, very busy time, and I couldn't get to it. So I've not gone back. I don't look at my Nook frequently, not like I look at my Kindle for sure. Sorry, Barnes and Noble. Anyway, this one has always interested me. It's a weird plot about a man who somehow weirdly ends up investigating JFK's assassination. It's weird, and it's something I didn't finish, so I don't know how weird it gets, but this one is pretty intense too. So if Les Mis is like 1,380 some pages, in the end, this one is 848 or something like that. It's pretty big. Yeah. They're not quite as big as each other, but this one's close. It's heavy. But I think I would like to read most of it physically because that's a good challenge for me. And I just need to read some big books. I need to not shy away from these big books. So I'm so excited. And she gave me a little package of book darts in its own little package as well. And these are really cute ones. They're different than the ones I've had in the past, but they're similar. And I like the metal ones. I really, really do. I don't like the plastic ones as much. So I have book darts for my book or books, and I have a book from Crystal. I'm really, really grateful to her for that. I did not haul a Book of the Month Club book for November. I have some credits accruing there, and I did not purchase anything from Libro.fm in the month of November. I did haul some library books. Let me show you those. I won't talk about them in detail because some of these I've read. So this one was the first one, Conclave by Robert Harris. I did read this. It was the first one I read. Devoured it, loved it, highly recommended. Wish I had read it before I saw the movie, but it also does follow the movie very closely. So if you choose one over the other, you won't be disappointed. Beautifully written. I would love to read something else by that author. I hauled The Remains of the Day, but by the time I put it on hold and picked it up because other things were on hold, I had purchased it. I purchased it at the end of last month. So I have not read this yet, but it was one of my hauls, but I'm going to return that, obviously. I did read this, Ragnar Jonassen's Death at the Sanatorium. I think I talked about this, a new release, and I devoured it too. Loved it. Really, really love this author, and Hulda is back in this one from the previous books that I've read by this author, and I think another character I can't think of his name, was also returning, but this one was crazy, twisty, good. And then I got Bear Your Gaze, which I'm actually trying to read at the moment. This was one of my most anticipated releases a couple of months ago. And it is about a guy who's a screenwriter, and he's got some gay characters in the play or in the movie, and they want to cut them and they want to change the story. And so I'm not sure what's going to happen, and I'm not sure I'm going to finish this. I'm sort of like about it at the moment. I also have it on Kindle because my library had a copy of it, but on Kindle, but yeah, so he's trying to manage the expectations of him by the studio while at the same time recognizing he's an Oscar winner or an Oscar nominee anyway. I don't know if he wins. So it's just not quite hitting it for me yet, but those are the books I hauled from the library, and I need to take the at least three of them back. I'll keep this one for a little bit, but the other three I'm going to go ahead and return. I had to keep renewing them because I don't have a car right now. My daughter's rec meant that I could lend her my car till she gets the money to buy another car, and she doesn't have that yet. So, which is fine. I don't need my car every day, but I can't return my library books. I'm so grateful for my library. I'm so grateful for all these books. This stack is going to be quite something to hold up. So wish me luck. But thanks for watching. Thanks for your support and your comments and subscribing if you have, and liking the videos, and just everything that you share with me is just so exciting. I am really not kidding when I say I look forward to the comments, and I just always need to make sure I take time to prioritize those because I get really busy and things happen. So thank you so much. Have a lovely holiday season, and as always, happy reading. Bye.